The following program was produced by the United States Courts.
Hello, I'm Javier Hernandez with the United States Courts. The Defender Services Office held a symposium to celebrate the Criminal Justice Act. Corinne Redmond has more on the story.
The Office of Defender Services hosted the symposium at the historic Cosmos Club in Washington, D.C. A panel of judges, attorneys, law educators, and researchers led the discussion.
I think the Criminal Justice Act is critical to the court's role and society's role generally in protecting the Sixth Amendment, in making sure that everyone charged with a crime, regardless of their financial resources, has good representation, very good, well-qualified representation by a skilled defense attorney.
In 1963, the landmark Supreme Court case Gideon versus Wainwright ruled that indigent defendants facing felony criminal charges have the right to legal counsel at the expense of the government. The following year, on August 20th, 1964, Congress passed the Criminal Justice Act, which laid the foundation for the modern federal defender program.
It's important to remind people of what it is and how central it is to the way our criminal justice system works and to achieving sort of a level of constitutional fairness that I don't think people are really cognizant of because they're not reminded of it. So this is an important way of reminding people of how important the Criminal Justice Act is and how it improves our system.
The panel discussed selection process for CJA panel attorneys, the impact of sequestration, and the independence of federal public defenders.
I think it's very important. 50 years, of course, a little bit past that is a good time to reflect on whether the Criminal Justice Act has had the impact that we all hope it has and its sponsors hoped that it would have. It's time to reflect on the past, and it's also very important to look ahead to the future. How are we going to meet these funding challenges?
Keynote speaker Kathleen Kennedy Townsend reflected on her father, Robert F. Kennedy, who was a champion for the modern federal defender program. The late Kennedy once said, "The right of adequate legal defense should be extended to all Americans, regardless of their ability to pay."
He was really aware of the difference of who you were and whether you got off or not. And when my father saw a problem, I can guarantee you, he wanted to solve it. He would ask, what can we do about it? Who can help? What results are we going to get? He wanted to accomplish something.
Some of the panel shared their own personal experiences.
Everybody travels different roads. You know, I'm from one of those communities that most of the young people who are before the court come from. You know, I went to school on a Malcolm X scholarship, went to law school, and I'm in my 34th year of practicing law. And because of that life path, I bring a different perspective to the work, a perspective that makes what it is we do better.
Private CJA panel attorneys like Rico and federal public defenders make up the two parts of the Defender Services Program. CJA panel attorneys help augment Defender Services offices to ensure that everyone receives equal justice under the law.
The Defender Services Program here in our country is unique. We, day in and day out, from one end of this country to the next, defendants are receiving a high level of legal representation due to the Criminal Justice Act. So it's a big part of my life, my everyday practice.
He's not alone. Panel attorneys and federal public defenders represent nearly 90% of all federal criminal defendants. That's why officials believe the CJA is such an important part of our judicial system. Reporting in Washington, I'm Corinne Redmond.
Thank you, Corinne. You can watch the entire Criminal Justice Act 50th Symposium on our YouTube page or uscourts.gov. Reporting with the U.S. Courts, I'm Javier Hernandez in Washington.